Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. I just did an episode of my show, Dylan Knows, and I figured since I hadn't done one of these yet, and it's about 25 minutes before midnight, I figured I'd get this out of the way and get it done too. Not a lot to talk about in the comic world. Here's the Comic Call for this week, so we'll get right into it. Again, real quick, it was delayed. My Comic Call was delayed at least a day due to the fact that we had a snowstorm here in the Mid-Atlantic that closed my comic book store down on Wednesday. So the books they were closed, so no one was allowed to go and get books until Thursday. So I went and got them on Thursday. And just because of the way things are going with my life right now, I had to delay doing the Comic Call. I had delayed doing the Comic Call until today. I had just did an episode of Dylan Knows. I had to get all this out of the way because tomorrow is Pokemon Go Community Day, but we're not talking about that. We're here to talk about comics. So we're going to run through this real quick, and then I'm out of here. First up, from DC Comics, we have Batman, number 43, finishing up the Everyone Loves Ivy storyline and leading into the beginning of the 6 to 7 part Batman and Catwoman wedding storyline, which is coming up. This is some good stuff. Tom King is writing the hell out of it, and his rotating cast of artists is doing a great job. Mikkel Janin, who's been doing the art on this story arc, is phenomenal. So it's written by Tom King with art by Mikkel Janin. And cover. Okay, Hugo Petrus did some art as well, but this is Mikkel Janin's artwork. So continuing the story of Ivy controlling everybody. It is a fascinating story, good artwork, and I love where the story is going. And things are going to change. And let's get a little Batman Selina action. So good job. Love it. Good series. Highly recommended. Next up, another really good series. We have Super Sons number 14. Unfortunately, this book will be canceled very shortly because of after Metal, which is the big storyline, ends next week. There's going to be all kinds of changes in DC Universe again, and it's kind of disappointing that we're not going to see any more of the Super Sons, but we still have it now. It's written by Peter Tomasi with art by Carlo Barberi and inks by Art Thibert. Continues the mom war. Damien's mom is trying to kill John's mom, so that stuff is great, and Carlo Barberi's artwork is fantastic. And Art Thibert is one of the best underrated inkers out there. So Super Sons has been a really fun book as well, and I'm up to date on that one as well. Superman number 43. Superman's also been a really good book. Peter Tomasi, Patrick Gleason are the writers. Patrick Gleason is doing the artwork, which he hasn't done in a while, which is well, actually, no, he's not doing the artwork in this one. Prado is. No, he is. No, Gleason is. Prado is something else. Patrick Gleason with Joe Prado. This is continuing the Bizarro World storyline, and they're running up the end of their storyline. Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, they are not going to be writing Superman once Brian Michael Bendis rolls into town, and I can't wait to see what they're going to be writing. Hopefully it'll be just as good. I wouldn't be surprised if it is, and I can't wait to see what it is. So good stuff there. I don't know if this is jumping on the bandwagon of the success of Black Panther, but the fact is Christopher Priest, who is the writer of this book, did write Black Panther one time. Now he's writing Justice League number 41. This is set in Africa with a new African superhero. Not 100% certain what's going on with that. It's written by Christopher Priest with art by Felipe Barriones. As we go into Africa, and we discover some new stuff, and it's continuing Priest's storytelling. There it is. The Red Lion is the character that was created for this. To me, it looks like it's a Black Panther sort of thing. But the fact is, here's another new hero. I don't know who that is. But, Christian Priest has written Black Panther before, so don't know exactly what is going on about that. But, it looks good, and we'll see. This might be the last issue of my book, but I had to get it because I love Tony Daniel's artwork, and I love his Wonder Woman, so we get Tony Daniel drawing Wonder Woman in the new issue of Damage, #3, written by Robert Venditti. Again, it's their version of the Incredible Hulk. There's not much going for it except the gorgeous artwork by Tony Daniel. The story itself is just sort of bland. Danny Mickey does the inks, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love Tony Daniel's artwork, and I'm glad he's going to be doing a Batman story arc soon. Lee Weeks will be doing a Batman story arc soon, so we've got some good stuff coming on Batman. But for now, we're watching Wonder Woman kick ass against Damage, and it's great to see Tony Daniel's Wonder Woman, and kind of wish he would be drawing Wonder Woman with a different writer. But what can we do? Gorgeous Wonder Woman. Gorgeous artwork by Tony Daniel. The book itself is kind of bland, but the artwork is stunning. Speaking of Wonder Woman, Brave and Bold #2, featuring Wonder Woman and Batman. It's a 6-issue miniseries with Wonder Woman and Batman teaming up together to take on some fantastical fantasy creatures. It's written and drawn by Liam Sharp, which, is just pretty interesting to look at anyway. And it is definitely a unique storyline, a sort of fantasy story with Batman and Wonder Woman teaming up together. And it's fascinating, I guess. First issue was interesting. We'll see, but I mean, I don't know how much longer they're going to be doing these, but if they're going to do a bunch of 6-issue miniseries of Brave and Bold and have Batman team up with somebody else, that'd be kind of cool, I guess. Green Lanterns #43, another really good book that's been doing very well with our Green Lanterns. It's written by Tim Seeley, with art by V. Ken Marion and inks by Sandu Floria. I think this is the end of a story arc. It's a different take than what was done previously, but that's always good when you get a new writer. You want to get something new and different and not the usual stuff. And so, interesting things there. Harley Quinn #40 is another one of those that I need to quit eventually, but for now I just can't quit her. Frank Cho's covers have been amazing, and here you have a gorgeous Ivy and Harley with Scarecrow. It's written by Frank Thierry with art by Bruce Timm, who actually was someone who worked on, I think it's Bruce Timm. Hold on, it might not be Bruce Timm. Where is it? Where is his? I don't think it's Bruce Timm. It's Frank Thierry with art by John Timm, I'm sorry, and Moritat, both of which have worked on this book when Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor wrote it. So you get a little bit of a change there, but here you get Harley Quinn taking on Batman's villains, but without sort of like the humor that Jimmy and Amanda brought to it. So, Frank Thierry is more of an action writer anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. Batwoman #13 begins a new story arc written by Marguerite Bennett with art by Fernando Blanco. The Fall of the House of Kane. Batwoman's been going through a lot of hardship in Detective Comics, and now it looks like Marguerite Bennett's going to put her through hell as well in this book. Always a fascinating book. Really cool cover. That nice. This book had potential, and I've said this all the time, but I'm going to keep on it because it's a character I enjoy and other characters I enjoy. Dead Man #5 of 6, written and drawn by Neil Adams. This book had so much potential, but it was awful. This is Atana, Spectre, Demon, and Dead Man. And Dr. Fate's in it as well. So you get a look at the supernatural aspects of the DC Universe. But the story itself is a complete and utter mess. And but it's fun to see these characters. And we only got one more issue of it, and it's still Deadman, and I love Deadman to death. So I will keep up with it till the end and hope that we get a different series from a different writer artist. That's it for regular DC. Young Animals continuing their new rebirth as well, with Cave Carson Has an Interstellar Eye, #1. The same creative team that did the original Cave Carson book is back. John Rivera, Michael Avon Oeming, which is the only real reason why I'm buying this book, because I love Michael Avon Oeming's artwork, and Cave Carson's supporting cast was always interesting. I think Wild Dog, who is in this, pops up again in this as well, but again, it's one of these really bizarre young animal type of stories, and we'll see what happens. So, Cave Carson. Believe it or not, the only Marvel book I have this week is Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows #17, which is a Marvel Spider-Man book that takes place in an alternate reality where Peter Parker and Mary Jane stayed married, and they had a kid, and they all have powers. Jody Houser's writer, Nathan Stockman is the artist. It's always fun to see the adventures of married Peter Parker and Mary Jane and their daughter as well. And pretty fascinating book. And Jody Houser, so gotta love it. So that's it for Marvel, believe it or not. There are some Marvel books coming up that I'm going to be interested in. I've always loved this book, so I'll be getting this book when it comes out, Exiles #1. And we'll see what else is rolling through here soon enough. I said there's not going to be a lot, but there's going to be some stuff coming. So that's it for Marvel. And finally, Independence. The comic book history of comics, which is always fantastic to see. The new series is taking, instead of it going in historical order, it's taking bits and pieces from different things. This is about piracy and about the, as well as the, what is the word you're looking for? Just detailing, how things went bad for the comic world, speculations, stuff like that. And it's, should be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to reading this, actually. It's written by Fred Van Lent with art by Ron Dunleavy. And it's literally what it is. It is a comic book about the comic book history of comics. This is the depiction of Image leaving Marvel and DC, and the creation of comic book stores and the internet, and piracy and stuff that's been rolling through there, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, stuff like that. So it's all in this book. I think this is the last issue until the next wave of history of comics comes out, which wouldn't surprise me. It'll be coming out soon, but this is issue #4 of that. I'll probably get the trade again because I like having the trades there. Kick-Ass #2, Mark Millar, John Romita Jr. with a new Kick-Ass. So basically it's a Kick-Ass rebirth, but it's using the same high violence and character ideas that the original one did, but with a bit of a twist. It's a female Kick-Ass, and she's African-American. But it's got the same heavy violence and language and stuff like that. Matahari #2. Again, I'm a history buff, and I don't really know much about Matahari. This is a fictional tale about Matahari. It's written by Emma Beebe with art by Ariella Christiantina. It's got sex and nudity in it because that's what Matahari, trafficked in, and it's basically following her life as she's in prison awaiting her death. She's detailing the story of her life, and we're seeing it play back and flashback. Again, something different in comic books and a interesting historical aspect of looking at things. So if you're into something different, that would be a good one to look at. The final issue of the Dynamite Vampirella for now is out now, #11. Written by Jeremy Whitley with art by Rafa Labasco. So Vampirella is going to be disappearing for a little while, and will probably be brought back sooner than later with a new creative team and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. But until then, that's it for Vampirella, the new version of Vampirella. Ninja K number 5 from Valiant. Next week, we have Shadow Man number 1, which I cannot wait to show you because I love Shadow Man. But until then, Ninja K is going to have to deal with it. It's written by Christos Gage with art by Diego Rodriguez, Tomas Giorelli. Hold on, let's see who it is. The actual creative team is, where are you? Oh, yeah. Christos Gage writer, Tomas Giorello as artist. So Ninjak, or was known as Ninjak, was always an interesting character in Valiant when Valiant first came out. Joe Quesada worked on that book, and it was gorgeous. But he's always one of these interesting characters. Well, now Christos Gage has changed him up a little bit and made him Ninja K instead of Ninjak, meaning there are other ninjas around him, and it's his job in this book to hunt them down and see what's going on with them. 30 Days of Night number 4, continuing this series, rebooting this series, I should say, written by Steve Niles with art by Piotr Kowalski. It's a reboot of 30 Days of Night, basically, where Barrow, Alaska, where during the dead of winter they have no sunlight for 30 days. Vampires have decided to descend upon the town and feast because they can feast 24/7 and not have to worry about the sun. So we get to see that as well. And it's, again, it's a new take on 30 Days of Night, but there's some crazy stuff coming up. It's highly violent and gory, as you expect from a 30 Days of Night book. Moonshine number 8 by Brian Azzarello and Edward Riso. Newest issue came out. It's basically werewolves during the gangster era in the 1930s. Artwork is gorgeous. Brian Azzarello's story is always phenomenal. Again, it's hard-boiled crime stuff, throwing a little bit of supernatural-esque stuff with werewolves, and you get this book. Finally, we have Robo Tech number 8, which is a reboot kind of the Robo Tech story as well. It's following the basic idea of the story, but they're changing certain things up here and there. Plot by Brian Wood and Simon Furman with art by Marco Torrini. Things are not exactly as you would seem. Things, are a little different than you remember from the anime, and that's the whole point of it. They want to give you the general story that you remember, but a different take on it as well. And I think this is going on a hiatus, or it's a bi-weekly one, because they're saying issue number 9 doesn't come out for a little while. It has a cliffhanger twist ending to it, so we'll see what happens. So that was it. The comic haul for this week. As I said, next week, some good stuff coming out next week. Shadow Man number 1 is coming out. I know that for a fact. The final issue of Metal is coming out next week. We're getting new issues of the New Age of Superheroes, not the Incredibles, but the new team that DC put together with Metamorpho and Plastic Man. I forget what that one's called. The new issue that's coming out. Silencer's new issue's coming out. I think it's a little bit more Marvel for me, but maybe not too much. But I'll find out for sure on Monday when I take a look at what's coming out from my previous page. So go to your local comic book store. I know it's a little late now, but still, you can go anytime you want. Find something to pick up and read. Hopefully something that you saw there would intrigue you about going to a comic book store and picking something up. On that note, I'm going to leave because I am tired and I've done nothing but talk for the last 3 hours. So I'm out of here. See you guys later. Happy Easter. We will have a regular comic haul this week. It is Easter week, so enjoy that. My shop is having a great Easter sale. Check and see if your local store is as well. If you don't know where your local store is, go to the Comic Shop Locator Service. Go to your search engine, type in CSLS or Comic Shop Locator Service. When the website comes up, go to it. Type in your zip code. It'll give you all the comic book stores within a 20-mile radius of your house. Check them out. Just check them out. Buy some stuff. There's some cool stuff out there. See you soon. Happy Easter.